you all for being so unbelievably patient and cooperative.
You will? Michael signed it for us.
Oh, totally. Which lab? And to answer your other question, I don't really think that, that the test is a bad test if it's done properly. I don't have any reason to believe that any of the other 30 WADA labs are as bad as the LMDD, but I don't know. Never. I don't have any information from those labs, so I hope that you get some more information, and if you did it, then I hope that they did it right, so that you don't have to go through an entire year of
Is the outcome of this going to be a binding for all parties? Is all parties accepted to, like the committee with the jury funds, are they going to give you the title if it rules in your favor?
He asked what if the outcome of this hearing is the end of this whole process, I guess. And no, I don't know. I really heard a lot of comments from a lot of different parties saying that they'll appeal it, and there's also a French hearing which could possibly take place. And then there's the ASO, the Organization of the Tour de France, which also has made some comments. So they've already said they don't consider me the winner. I don't know what that means. I just really, maybe something's lost in interpretation there. But there certainly is a possibility of more hearings.
With respect to the synthetic testosterone, one of the things I've never understood is what would be the benefit of taking that just the day before? I understand bodybuilders and whatever, they'll take that stuff for periods of 10, 12 weeks at a time, blocks of time. I don't see how you could not test positive one day and then you have your bad day. Yeah, then try to ride that back. And then supposedly take tests every day for this. I don't understand even what the benefit to you would be overnight. I mean, is there some benefit to that?
I don't know either. We produced some experts at the hearing who testified that there is no evidence of that. They, of course, found some people, Joe Pat, who claims that it helped him. I don't see any evidence that it helped him personally, but he says it did. So I don't know. I really nobody's knowing whether it helps or not, but it would be very unwise to start using it in the middle of the race.
Floyd, you're off! Is it true that you spoke to Eddie Merckx the night before and that was his suggestion to come out attacking?
No, I had not spoken to him the night before. Obviously, his son Axel was on the team, and I think Axel probably communicated to him what the plan was, but no, we didn't have a chance to speak with him. I would have. I didn't see him, though, that evening. There were quite a few evenings where I did run into him because he was at the race, but the night before that stage, we didn't see him. It really, if you look at the whole situation we were in, it was the only choice we had if we wanted to put ourselves in a position to win. There was no other options. Anything else, we could win the stage, but there was no way to get enough time back. Obviously, the chance that it worked was small, but it's easy to look back and say it looked like a genius plan. It could easily have looked like a stupid plan. Yeah, go ahead.
What's your favorite place to train?
My favorite place to train is California. It's my favorite place in the whole world. There's been a lot of places, and I've ridden my bike most places in the world, and it's not really much reason to leave this place. I live not too far from here. I live in Murrieta, down by Temecula, and I often ride. The closest I come, sometimes I drive to Mount Baldy, right up there. But I often go south towards Mount Palomar and out towards Idlewild, little town up there in the mountains. Anyway, I like all the mountains around here. It's good. And the sunshine. Yeah.
You know, this whole thing that's been going on with you is really, things are operating on a couple of levels. One, of course, is your personal level and your travails with all the parents. But the other is this sort of Alice in Wonderland kangaroo court world of the drug enforcement agencies, of the drug testing agencies. Is there any kind of a groundswell starting amongst the athletes to see if they could redress that? I mean, it's just a horribly lopsided situation now.
Well, yeah, I have a lot of problems with the way the system works. obviously because I've been forced into a position where I have to look at it and see how it works. I don't think most cyclists were aware before this, at least, of how bad it is. And quite frankly, there's a lot of people who I try to explain this to, and they just don't believe it because it sounds like it couldn't possibly be that bad. They think I'm just making it up. But I don't think that the other cyclists who currently are not being investigated for something are really willing to put themselves at the risk of, well, for example, I mean, when we asked for certain things from the laboratory, we produced forged documents. If they're going to just make up results, then I don't think it's wise for somebody to speak out against them unless they're already involved in something. So it's not going to be easy to get everybody behind it.
I mean, the whole thing looks like knife on steroids.
Yeah, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, the back.
To follow up to his point, which would be my point, is what about a union for the cyclists?
Certainly that would
there are
help.
other sports, like there are in other sports.
I think that the main thing that needs to happen, and it probably won't happen, at least at the hands of the ASO and the big European tours, is that cycling needs to just leave the Olympics so it's not subjected to this WADA system. A union would help, but it doesn't look like anything that's going to be an immediate fix.
How you
Yeah.
doing? You chose to undertake this very public campaign to make people aware of what goes on with the drug testing and all in the sport of cycling. So, have you succeeded in changing people's perceptions, and do you think you're going to succeed in improving anything in the sport of cycling?
Well, the last couple of days I've been thinking about that, and I realized that maybe this is not such a bad thing. I really only now have smart fans, because only the smart people can figure out the science, so I eliminated all the other ones, and now I only have It's, I think, been very successful. Yeah, go ahead.
Your wattage cyclometer, which measures the wattage output, I know that's part of your training, and you document your wattage output during the training, and you want to do it while you race. As part of your defense, how big a part of your defense was it? And also, are we seeing a lot of other riders use it while they race?
Well, for a while we considered using it as part of the defense because there are plenty of training sessions that I have which are similar to what happened on that stage. But we decided that since it was really so clear what had gone wrong in the test, that rather than confuse the issue with even more outside, less directly related things. For example, they could argue that it doesn't make any difference if I can do it in training or not. I mean, that's not. It could have been an argument if we decided to just go with the science. They, on the other hand, decided to avoid the science at all costs and brought Joe Pat. But yeah, we decided to focus on what had gone wrong at the lab.
Are we seeing other riders use the during races too?
Yeah, really the value has in a race. But as far as training goes, the majority of professional cyclists now use some kind of powered gear. Yeah, way in the back.
Your team and your sponsors, some I know probably bowed out. Do you have any that are faithful and have stayed with you? Obviously you have fans, you said smart fans. Do you have any smart sponsors that have actually stuck by you to help you in this cause?
I do. The most important one, ironically enough, is the hip company that did my hips. I have a monopoly on that. That's going to get my sponsor. I also still work with Cyclops, the guys who make the Power Tap, and Giro, helmet company, and that's about it. Everyone else is afraid. So
About that watch you're wearing, who's that from?
it's an Oakley watch. They are kind of waiting to see what happens. Yeah, way in the back.
Kind of following on that case vein, have you had any formal talks with any teams for your future?
No, I speak with quite a few people in the industry and people that run teams, but not about my situation because I don't know what the time frame is when I can start racing again. Even in the event of a positive outcome in this case, there's still a matter of other possible hearings to deal with, and so I can't really make any commitments until I have a better idea when I can start racing. So I haven't gone into any detail at all about where I will go when I do start racing again. Yeah.
Why do you think cycling is being attacked more than any other sport?
Cycling has, in some ways, brought it on itself, but it's certainly, as far as the anti-doping agencies are concerned, is their best choice because of all the sports over which they have jurisdiction, it's the most high-profile sport, and it's the only sport over which they have control of the professional athletes. So, of course, their objective is to try to get as much publicity as possible and make it look like they're doing something, and so they pretty much hold the athletes to a standard of perfection, and they don't hold themselves to any kind of standard at all. And unfortunately, cycling is paying for it, and the guys who are racing right now are paying for it.
What kind of mountain bike will you be racing in Leadville?
I think I'll be racing BMC. I think I'm going to race on a hardtail, though, because I haven't done the race in Leadville before. If anyone here has done it, they can maybe give me some tips. But I think that it's mostly dirt roads, and so I don't think a full suspension bike is necessary. But at this point, the more critical thing is that I start training.
Lance might do it, actually.
Lance is going to do it? Great. Then I start. Yeah, go ahead.
Floyd, when you're racing in the Tour, like the Tour de France, do you see the American flags? Do you hear the cheers, or are you just oblivious as you're going down the road? I mean,
no, you can. Well, there's lots of people on the road and they're all yelling something different. But when there's an American yelling something in English, you often notice it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends. If there's a critical part on the climb or something like that, you don't notice, but you do. Yeah, you notice the people that are supporting you.
Does it help? I mean.
Well, it's better than when they spit on you. I'll take the flag over there. Who else? Yeah, go ahead.
Tour of California. I think there's a chance that you'll be in it next year? Or
I hope so. I really would like to. I don't know. Yeah. In the event that the arbitration panel makes the decision based on the facts of this case and we win, at some reasonable time soon, then I could probably start racing regardless if there's an appeal or something like that. So I'm hopeful that I can race the Tour of California because it's a good race. Now, they should change it to July. And I don't know if they're bold enough to, but they should.
You can start out in Paris, California.
I've been there. They don't have the Eiffel Tower there, but we can probably build one. Yeah, go ahead.
With all the time you spent defending yourself, I know you haven't been able to train as much, but now that things are, mellowing out a little bit, how much training are you actually doing right now?
The last couple of weeks I've done a few hundred miles a week, but nothing anywhere near what I've done in past years. And again, the book tour thing's kind of cutting into my time, but I hope that the next couple of weeks I can do some reasonably long weeks. Otherwise, the race is going to be 8 hours long, so we'll see. Might not be pretty. Yeah.
When you train, do you click the distance in kilometers or miles?
Generally, I don't even pay attention to that. I go by hours. That's how far I ride. So, because I mean, look, it varies a lot. If you go ride on PCH or if you go ride a Palomar, it's totally different. You get a totally different workout, and you don't go nearly as far as the big mountains. So, to go by miles, I guess to answer your question directly, I would go by miles generally.
A couple more questions, please, so we can maybe get all of you guys through here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Say hello personally.
Yeah, when you're racing, do you play any mind games, or what kind of goes through your head when you're pushing yourself?
Well, that's the beautiful thing about bike racing is there are lots of tactics that go on, and there's lots of dynamics within the peloton. A lot of times, you can't really make sense of it, even when you're in the race, because there's the green jersey competition and the climbers' points, and then there's people that want to win a stage, and then there's people that just don't like each other and do different things, and you can't make sense of it. So that's what makes it good. I mean, that's why it takes more than just the strongest guy to win the race. And yeah, occasionally you play mind games, but for the most part, I respect the other guys there, and they generally do respect each other. I mean, there's not anything strange going on in the race. Yeah, in the back.
What do you eat when you're training or in your racing, like before your race and during?
Before the race, generally the problem with the tour, the worst part for me is you go to a different hotel every day, and they generally just make mass quantities of food, like rice and pasta, and it's not very good. And they end up serving it for breakfast too. You'll eat pasta and rice and an omelet or something. Honestly, it's not so easy to eat after about a week of that race. You just don't feel well. Your stomach usually doesn't really feel that well. And you have to force yourself to eat. So whatever you eat, you don't really care. You don't taste it. You just have to, you know that you have to force yourself to do it. So during the race, you'll often eat, well, they always have like some kind of energy bars and gels and stuff, but usually after about a week of that, you can't eat anymore. And then they'll have pastries and all kinds of little sandwiches and stuff, just real food rather than, I mean, if you just ate gels and energy bars, you'd probably eat 500 of them. It would, I mean, it's just too much. So you end up eating donuts or something that tastes good.
One last question, please.
Yeah, Floyd, I was wondering, like, you know, because you obviously were on the American-based team Discovery, and I mean, the team dynamic has really changed. I mean, it seems like there's very fewer Americans on the team, and there's a lot of foreign riders coming on board. And I mean, what do you think about that? Do you think there are any American-based teams that are going to be more dominated by our riders in the future, or?
The only real American-based team that's trying to get to that level right now is the team with Jonathan Butter.
Chipotle. Yeah.
Discovery has never really cared too much whether they were Americans or anything else. They often just went for the best riders, and that's fine. I mean, that was their tactic in arranging the team. And I don't know, maybe that'll hurt them now. They're trying to find a sponsor. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't heard if they did or not, so it's possible that that's going to be gone. But certainly the Slipstream team has some good support from some good sponsors, and I think that their goal is to get to the tour sometime soon. So I hope that happens.
Would you potentially go towards that team if you know?
There's a lot of people on the team that I enjoy being around and respect, and certainly that would be an option. But I don't know. Well, I don't have any way of telling a team when I can start racing, so I haven't gotten to that yet.
Right. Thank you.
So, thank you guys. I'll stay here and try to say hi to everybody.
This is going to be a little bit tricky. The folks that have been waiting for hours up here in these chairs, we're going to go row by row.
Thank you.
Right, you're sorry.